Hey guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and this is Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, August 21st, 2018. I forget the date every time I turn that darn camera on. Mimoka really loves to hide in a quilt, but she doesn't like when I talk to myself, so she's going to leave us now. There, that's much neater now. So Miss Mocha, she does love to burrow underneath a quilt, and she kind of likes it when it's like two quilts and gets in between the two of them. So she likes to lay in here in the craft room with me while I'm working, and because I don't have a quilt on my bed right now, it's summertime, and I can't follow a train of thought apparently. I'm sorry about that, but so I bring this quilt out that I have not quilted yet, of course, as you can see. That's why it's still here. And I put it down, she burrows under it, and then I cover her over. But she really kind of freaks out when I bring the camera out and I start talking to myself. I'm not really sure what the problem is, because when hubby and I are talking, it's perfectly fine. But I guess she just thinks I'm a weirdo because I'm talking to myself. But Miss Mocha has left the building, or at least left the room, so I made it nice and neat again. Now you can see why I like to have something hanging over to cover up that mess. A little update on the construction in my area, or outside my room I should say. The diggers have made it, I think there are 4 or 5, we don't have many houses. We have 1, 2, 3, we have 5 houses on the road that I live on. Well, this section of the road in our neighborhood. And I think there's 4 or 5 empty lots. So they're about 4 or 5 houses or property lines down. I can hear when the dump trucks are going by, because they have a big giant pile of rocks outside my neighbor's driveway, and then they have this long pile of dirt where they're digging like 20 feet down, 15, 20 feet down to put these pipes. So I can hear the dump trucks bringing the dirt and the rocks back and forth, but most of the beeping is all the way down the road, so it's much nicer now. We do have our car back in the driveway. Most days we can get in and out. If we get a lot of rain, because everything, I'll see if I can put a picture at the end here, but everything's just all dirt. So they made us a nice little dirt ramp, and they compacted a little pathway down so people can get in and out. Because for, what, about a week or two, I had my car on the back road, and there's a lot of problems with people peeking in cars and breaking in, and I never leave anything in my car, and I try to always remember to lock it, but I feel more comfortable when it's in my driveway and, you know, right outside the window. One of the things I was doing this week, just actually a couple days ago, is, okay, now this is going to sound weird, and I understand Florida used to be really underwater, and there's we're not very far above sea level. Sometimes we're just at sea level and a little below. Sometimes we're a little above. It's just a weird random thing that seems to fluctuate. But as I was taking the dog, just kind of being nosy and walking along the compacted dirt, which is on the other side of our road, I noticed some really big seashells and stuff that were in the piles of dirt from when they were digging it up. So I thought it was really, really weird, because, like I said, I know the Gulf of Mexico is like 10 miles away from us, maybe 5 if we're going towards Pine Island. But I was really surprised to see all these seashells being dug up out of my road. When they pulled out these big boulders and everything, I wasn't surprised there, but seashells. And then I was really surprised that, because I was not digging in the mud, but I was grabbing them and pulling them out of the mud, and they're full of mud. I happened to get my hands too close to my face, and they smell like the ocean. So the mud they're bringing up is really quite fragrant. But I pulled out a lot of seashells because hubby and I like to intersperse them throughout our little flower beds. So maybe later on I can put up a picture. Otherwise, I'll put one up on Instagram for everyone to see. One of the other stunning things that we found, well, there's 3 things that surprised me. Geez, I can even count today. One, I was surprised to find these big seashells and big clam shells in the dirt. 2, when they were digging, they actually found an empty cavity. Just this big pocket of air underneath a boulder. So basically it was probably set up, you know, they say with the sinkholes that just the water that's flowing underground washes away the dirt. So it must have washed away a lot of this dirt, and this giant boulder that they were struggling to get up, it was a lot of work. They took almost a whole day to get this boulder out. There was a big giant cavern underneath it. So if anything had shifted and that boulder had fallen into that big empty cavern, we would have had a sinkhole on our road. That was scary thinking. You know, to think about something like that happening, because you see a lot of pictures when the cars are driving down the road and they just land in these sinkholes and then they get bigger and bigger and they suck in houses and stuff. That's just a little bit scary. So the third thing, and what I thought was really one of the most exciting things, is they found a fossilized bone of a woolly mammoth about 4 miles from my house when they were digging up to do this city water and sewer lines. I thought that was crazy to picture woolly mammoths just kind of like traipsing around Florida. I don't know. Nowadays you wouldn't want to because it's too darn hot to be having all that fur on you. I don't think I've ever heard of any fossils, at least not in our area, of big animals like that. We have fossils. You can find little bits of stone and just like really compacted dirt. You can see the seashell fossils, and sometimes you can see a seahorse or maybe like a frog or some other creature that you don't really recognize. A lot of those swirly shell things or something like that. So those are really kind of cool to find when I was a child. But a woolly mammoth? Now that's kind of cool. So that was my excitement for the week. I went and did a little seashell digging right here in my front yard. Now let's see what I did in the crafting. Now you're not going to see any dishcloths for a while because I've told myself that I cannot start another dishcloth until I film the video on how to knit a dishcloth. So it might be a while. I did start a new shawl and I'm already in love with the way this looks. I'm using this ice cream yarn. It's cookies and cream. It's a medium gray and a light gray and kind of a creamy color. Nothing too dark. This is the darkest you're going to see. I thought I really loved the way that it's gradiating through the colors like that, through the shades. It's going to be really pretty. Okay, now onto the saga of my son's socks. I did get the extra skein that I said I was missing, so I'm working on finishing off the cuff here. I didn't worry, it had started out in the blue section, so I just made this section a little bit longer than it normally is. I didn't bother pulling it out and getting to the exact spot. I figured it's not too bad to have a little extra blue. It's not like all of a sudden there was some orange or yellow right in the middle of it where it didn't belong. And I've got most of the cuff done on this one. The only problem is I did not make his socks the same. One sock is actually, if I match it up to where the heel started on both of them, one sock is 10 rows shorter than the other. Dun dun dun. Apparently I can't count even though I have stitch markers in. If you want to see how I'm going to fix this mistake, come on back for my Whip It Wednesday and I'll go into detail and show you how I plan on fixing my latest boo-boo. I tell you, it seems like I'm always doing something wrong with one of my projects. Thankfully, they're always relatively easy to fix, right? I am cruising right along on my slouchy hat. I'm making this as a Christmas gift. I'm almost close to the 9. I think I have maybe 2 more inches to go. I like to go 9.5 inches. I got a couple more inches to go and I'm ready to start the decreases. This is my nighttime knitting. I can just knit and not have to even think about anything. This is kind of taking the place of my dishcloths. Now my favorite thing of the week is this little mini wall hanging. I was watching the Weekend Project from the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and Laura Lynn was doing, she'd been given an art wall hanging that had all these different colors of the fabric striping across it and kind of like, they kind of look a little wavy to me, and somebody cut out and put like fabric moons all over it, so it was this really cool design, and I loved the way it was quilted and everything. It was really cool looking. So she was showing us on Saturday on how to do it, and that kind of gave me that little shove. I've had this project in my head for a while, so it just kind of helped pop it back out and let me just go ahead and work on this weekend. So I worked on this Sunday morning when I should have been doing other things. I worked on this and I really love the way it's looking so far. I'm going to keep this one quite simple. I'm just going ahead and do some black facing on it. It has black fabric on the back. I just went ahead and I let my quilting be where I stitched all these fabrics down, and I really like the way this is looking. So that's all for my projects, but I did get some postcards this week. This is the brown kiwi bird from New Zealand. It is a bird that lives naturally there, and it's really strange because it's called a bird, but it doesn't fly. They even put kiwi stamps on the postcard. I thought that was really kind of fun. If you're from New Zealand, you want to tell me why it's called kiwi stamp when it doesn't have a picture of a kiwi? Is it just because it's from New Zealand? I got one all the way from Hawaii. Hawaii looks like such a beautiful state. I would love to go visit there sometime just to see everything. This one, it must be they redid an old postcard because this is dated January 1936, but you can obviously tell that it's a new postcard. This was actually a travel poster that they used as the postcard, so that's why it looks nice and new. They just went ahead and used an old cruise ship they just used the old Atlantis winter cruise. You know, they put posters outside when you go to a travel agency. They just redid that and shrunk it down and put it on a postcard. And I think that's a great way to use old memorabilia like that to keep it new again. Just because I'm in Florida doesn't mean I don't want a Florida postcard, right? This one is from Orlando. It's called The Nerds Snapshot Memories of Our Vacation at the Beach. So I thought that was really kind of cute. They got the blow-up alligator float and all. And look, you got the good old tourist with his big old socks and his shoes. She's got her flip-flops on with the camera hanging. Oh gosh, there are two camera people because he's got the camera hanging and he's got the camera he's taking a picture of. How funny. Now, I don't know what Orlando beaches are probably looking really beautiful like this too. Right now, our beaches, we're having problems with red tide. So unfortunately, red tide tends to kill the fish and stuff. So they're having a hard time keeping our beaches clean because dead fish keep coming in. It's very unfortunate. So that's all I've got for you this week. I'm going to try to go ahead and pop up a picture of what my driveway, my road looks like right now, and a picture of the seashells I've collected. I hope everyone has an amazing week. I'm off to watch everyone's videos. I've been a little slack in that lately. Sometimes I don't get to the videos until Monday before the next week's come out, but I'm going to try to do a little bit better. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. That's the end of my road. Oh, these are the big dirt piles that I was finding the seashells in. There's my little driveway. There's the guys hard at work. They're surveying, and then they're way down there. Here's the seashells that I was collecting. Haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to bleach them or just let them stay natural, considering they're going into the garden anyways. I don't know what this is, but it's a big clump of hard stuff, and it was dreaming like I was an excavator, and it was a woolly mammoth bone. This guy's my favorite. I've always loved these guys. They're nice and soft. This guy's nice and shiny. Like I said, they're broken in half, but once you put them in your garden like this, you're not going to notice. It's still going to look nice. This guy's got all of his. They're just really starting to deteriorate, but I rescued them in time. And all of these shells, there's tons of these everywhere. These shells were actually inside these big old clamshell things. But look how big they are. They're huge.